Marcus Reed stood at the observation deck of the massive cargo ship called Wandering Star and watched the stars drift past the thick glass windows. The ship was bigger than anything he had ever seen on Earth, stretching for miles in every direction with cargo bays that could hold entire cities. He had been aboard for exactly 3 days now and still felt like a tiny ant crawling around inside a giant metal beast. The young human adjusted his new security uniform and checked his reflection in the polished metal wall. At 22 years old, Marcus was fresh out of the Colonial Defense Academy on Earth, and this was his first assignment in space. His superiors had told him it would be good experience working with different alien species, but nothing could have prepared him for the reality of life aboard a galactic trade vessel. The corridors buzzed with activity as crew members from dozens of different worlds went about their daily tasks. Marcus had learned to recognize some of the species during his brief orientation. The tall bird-like Alterans walked on long, thin legs and communicated in musical chirps. The short, stocky Grundy miners moved heavy equipment with their 4 powerful arms. The blue-skinned Korvax served as engineers and officers, their metallic appearance giving them an air of authority. Marcus made his way to the security office where he was supposed to report for his morning shift. The corridors were wide enough for 3 humans to walk side by side, but most of the alien crew members needed the extra space. He nodded politely to everyone he passed, though most barely acknowledged his presence. Humans were still relatively new to galactic society. Having only made first contact 15 years ago, the security office was located in the center of the ship, surrounded by heavy blast doors and monitoring equipment. Marcus pressed his palm against the scanner and waited for the doors to slide open. Inside, Commander Thane was studying multiple holographic displays showing different sections of the ship. Commander Thane was a Korvac with dark blue metallic skin and 4 arms that moved independently as he worked the controls. His species was known for their tactical minds and natural leadership abilities. Marcus had heard that Commander Thane had served in the Galactic Fleet for over 30 years before taking this position. "Reed, you are early," Commander Thane said, without looking up from his displays. "That is good. Punctuality is important in security work." Marcus straightened his shoulders and stood at attention. "Yes, sir. I wanted to make sure I understood my duties before the shift began." "Walk with me," Commander Thane said, moving toward the door. "I will show you the patrol routes and explain what we watch for on a ship like this." They walked through the main corridors while Commander Thane explained the daily routine. The Wandering Star carried cargo between dozens of different worlds, and with that came risks. Pirates, smugglers, and various criminal elements were always looking for opportunities to cause trouble. The security team was responsible for keeping the crew safe and protecting the valuable cargo in the holds. "Most of our work is preventive," Commander Thane explained as they walked past a group of Rillan traders examining some kind of glowing crystals. "We watch for suspicious behavior, settle disputes between crew members, and make sure everyone follows ship regulations." Marcus nodded and tried to memorize the layout of the ship. The main corridors formed a grid pattern with smaller passages, branching off toward crew quarters and specialized work areas. Emergency stations were marked with bright red lights every 50 meters, and escape pods were positioned throughout the ship. They stopped at a large viewing area where several crew members were taking their break. A group of 5 aliens sat around a metal table playing some kind of card game with holographic pieces. Marcus recognized them as Rillans, a species known for their skills in trade and negotiation. They had green scaly skin and large eyes that seemed to notice everything. One of the Rillans looked up as Marcus and Commander Thane approached. This was Voss, according to the name tag on his uniform. He was older than the others and had several scars on his arms and face. His expression was not friendly as he studied Marcus. "So this is the new human," Voss said loud enough for everyone to hear. "He looks soft for a security officer." The other Rillans chuckled and exchanged glances. Marcus felt his face grow warm but kept his expression neutral. Commander Thane placed one of his hands on Marcus's shoulder. "Reed has completed advanced training at the Colonial Defense Academy," Commander Thane said calmly. His qualifications are excellent. Training is one thing, Voss replied, returning to his card game. But space is different from whatever safe little world he came from. Earth creatures are not known for their toughness. Marcus wanted to respond but remembered his training about maintaining professional relationships with crew members. He simply nodded to the group and continued walking with Commander Thane. "Do not let their comments bother you," Commander Thane said quietly as they moved away from the group. Many crew members are suspicious of new species joining the galactic community. Humans have a reputation for being aggressive, but also for being weak compared to other species. Aggressive? Marcus asked, confused. Your species has an unusual history of warfare, Commander Thane explained. Most civilized species develop beyond physical conflict before achieving space travel. Humans are different. This makes them aliens. Nervous, they completed the patrol route and returned to the security office. Commander Thane assigned Marcus to monitor the cargo bays during the evening shift. The work was routine but important, as the cargo holds contained millions of credits worth of trade goods. Marcus spent the next several hours walking through the massive cargo areas, checking security seals and monitoring the environmental controls. The bays were filled with containers from dozens of different worlds, each one carefully labeled and tracked by the ship's computer systems. As his shift ended, Marcus made his way back to his quarters. The crew quarters were small but comfortable, with a bed, desk, and personal storage area. He had decorated the space with a few photos from Earth and some books his father had given him before he left. Marcus sat on his bed and opened his personal communicator to record a message for his family. Day 3 aboard the Wandering Star. He began, "The work is interesting and Commander Thane is a good teacher. The crew is still getting used to having a human aboard, but I think things will improve with time." He paused and looked out the small window at the stars. Tomorrow they would arrive at Kepler Station for resupply and shore leave. Marcus had never been to an alien space station before, and he was excited to see what lay ahead. 3 weeks later, Marcus stood at the main airlock of the Wandering Star and watched as Kepler Station grew larger in the viewscreen. The space station was enormous, shaped like a spinning wheel with multiple levels and docking ports. Ships of every size and design were attached to the outer ring, from small personal craft to massive cargo haulers like his own ship. Commander Thane appeared beside him, carrying a data tablet with shore leave assignments. "This is your first time at a frontier station," he said. "Kepler Station serves many purposes: legal trade, repairs, resupply, and unfortunately less legal activities as well." Marcus nodded as he watched the docking procedures. The stations? Traffic control guided them to a berth on the lower level, where automated systems would handle the cargo transfer. "What should I expect?" "Kepler Station exists in what we call neutral space," Commander Thane explained. "No single government controls it, which makes it useful for trade between hostile species. However, it also attracts criminals, pirates, and smugglers. Station security exists, but they prefer to avoid involvement in disputes." The docking process took another hour, and then the crew was free to explore the station. Marcus had been looking forward to this moment since joining the ship. He wanted to see what an alien space station looked like and maybe find some souvenirs to send. Home to Earth, the airlock opened onto a wide corridor filled with beings from across the galaxy. Marcus had thought the crew of the Wandering Star was diverse, but the station's population was incredible. Species he had never seen before walked, crawled, and floated through the passages. The air was thick with different smells and sounds, from the mechanical clicking of insect-like beings to the deep rumbling of massive creatures that had to duck to fit through the doorways. Marcus made his way toward the main plaza, following signs written in dozens of different languages. The translation device in his ear helped him understand the basic directions, but many of the cultural references were lost on him. He passed shops selling everything from exotic foods to advanced technology, street performers demonstrating impossible feats, and gambling halls where the sounds of winning and losing echoed into the corridors. The main plaza was a vast open space in the center of the station, with a transparent dome showing the stars above. Hundreds of beings moved through the area, conducting business, meeting friends, or simply enjoying the atmosphere. Marcus found a quiet corner near a holographic star map and began studying the trade routes. Displayed in bright colors, he was trying to understand the complex network of shipping lanes when he noticed 5 large figures approaching him. They were unlike any species he had encountered before, standing nearly 8 feet tall with thick, scaly skin that looked like natural armor. Their heads were reptilian with sharp teeth and cold yellow eyes that seemed to evaluate everything as either prey or threat. "Look what we have here," the largest one said in heavily accented standard. "A soft pink mammal, far from home." Marcus looked up from the star map and tried to remain calm. The 5 aliens had spread out to surround him, cutting off his escape routes. Other beings in the plaza noticed what was happening but quickly moved away, clearly not wanting to get involved. "I am just studying the star map," Marcus said politely. "I do not want any trouble." The leader of the group laughed, a harsh sound that made several nearby aliens flinch. "Trouble?" "No, little Earthspawn, we just want to talk. My name is Keth, and these are my brothers. We have heard about your species joining the galactic community." Keth reached out with one clawed hand and flicked Marcus's uniform badge. "Security officer, I see." "Tell me, human, what makes you think you can keep anyone safe when you look like you would break if someone breathed on you too hard?" Marcus stepped back but found his path blocked by another member of the group. "I am not looking for a fight," he said firmly. "Please let me pass." "A fight?" Keth's voice grew louder, attracting more attention from the crowd. "Who said anything about fighting? We just want to see what a human can do. Show us some of those famous Earth combat skills." The other 4 aliens began making mocking sounds, imitating what they thought human fighting would look like. They moved like they were weak and clumsy, stumbling around and pretending to be afraid. The crowd that had gathered began to laugh, though Marcus could see that some of them looked uncomfortable. "I am not going to fight you," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the growing tension. "There is no reason for violence." Keth's expression hardened. "Violence? You think this is violence? Let me show you what my people consider violence." The large alien grabbed Marcus's drink from a nearby table and poured it over his head. The liquid was sticky and sweet, and it ran down Marcus's uniform in dark stains. The crowd laughed louder, and Marcus heard someone placing bets on how long he would last. "Now clean it up," Keth demanded, pointing at the puddle on the floor. "Get on your knees and clean up the mess like a good little pet." Marcus wiped the liquid from his face and looked around at the circle of aliens surrounding him. His training at the Colonial Defense Academy had covered situations like this, but knowing what to do and actually doing it were different things. Every instinct told him to fight back, but he also knew that violence would only make things worse. "I said clean it up," Keth repeated, pushing Marcus hard enough to make him stumble. "Or maybe you need more motivation." One of the other aliens produced a small device that Marcus recognized as a neural disruptor. The weapon could cause intense pain without permanent damage, and it was illegal in most civilized systems. However, Kepler Station was not known for following civilized laws. "This little toy will make you dance for us," Keth said, activating the device. It hummed with energy and cast an eerie blue light on the surrounding faces. "One touch and you will be begging us to stop." Marcus felt his heart rate increase and his muscles tense. The crowd had grown larger, and he could see crew members from the Wandering Star watching from the edge of the plaza. None of them moved to help him, probably because they knew the reputation of Keth's species. "Last chance, human," Keth said, holding the neural disruptor closer. "Get on your knees and beg, or we will make you regret ever leaving your little world." Marcus looked at the weapon, then at the 5 aliens surrounding him, then at the crowd of spectators waiting to see what would happen. He thought about his training, his duty as a security officer, and his responsibility to represent humanity in the galaxy. "No," he said quietly. Keth's eyes widened in surprise. "What did you say?" Marcus straightened his shoulders and looked directly into Keth's yellow eyes. "I said no. I will not get on my knees, and I will not beg." The plaza fell silent except for the hum of the neural disruptor. Keth's expression changed from surprise to anger to something that might have been respect. Then he smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Good," Keth said. "I was hoping you would say that." Keth raised the neural disruptor and moved closer to Marcus. The weapon hummed louder as its energy built up, and the blue light grew brighter. The crowd pressed forward, eager to see what would happen when the device touched human flesh. "You should have begged when you had the chance," Keth said, his voice filled with anticipation. "Now you will learn why smart species fear the Herrick." Marcus watched the weapon approach his chest and felt something change inside him. The fear and uncertainty that had been building for the past few minutes suddenly disappeared, replaced by a cold clarity that surprised him. Time seemed to slow down as his mind processed every detail of the situation. The neural disruptor was being held in Keth's right hand, leaving his left side exposed. The 4 other Herrick were positioned around the circle, but not close enough to react quickly. The crowd was watching intently but maintaining their distance. The nearest security patrol was at least 50 meters away and showing no signs of intervention. Marcus had spent 4 years at the Colonial Defense Academy learning combat techniques from instructors who had fought in real wars. He had trained with weapons, hand-to-hand combat, tactical planning, and survival skills. Most importantly, he had learned to recognize the moment when talking stops and fighting begins. That moment was now as Keth brought the neural disruptor forward. Marcus moved faster than any of the watching aliens had expected. His left hand shot out and grabbed Keth's wrist, twisting it away from his body, while his right hand chopped down on the Herrick's elbow. The joint bent backward with a loud crack, and Keth screamed as the neural disruptor fell to the ground. Before the other Herrick could react, Marcus spun around and drove his knee into Keth's stomach. The big alien doubled over, gasping for breath, and Marcus grabbed his head and brought it down to meet his rising knee. The impact sent Keth sprawling backward onto the plaza floor, unconscious before he hit the ground. The crowd gasped in shock. The entire exchange had taken less than 3 seconds, and the largest of the Herrick was now lying motionless on the ground. The other 4 aliens stared in disbelief before charging forward with roars of rage. Marcus had fought multiple opponents before in training exercises, but this was different. These were not fellow cadets pulling their punches or instructors testing his abilities. These were alien predators who wanted to hurt him, and every instinct in his body responded to the threat. The first Herrick reached him with claws extended, aiming for his throat. Marcus ducked under the attack and swept his leg behind the alien's knee, sending him crashing to the ground. As the Herrick tried to get up, Marcus grabbed his arm and twisted it until the shoulder dislocated with a wet pop. The second attacker tried to grab Marcus from behind, but the human had already moved. He spun around and drove his elbow into the Herrick's ribs, feeling bones crack under the impact. The alien staggered backward, and Marcus followed up with a series of quick punches to the stomach and chest that left his opponent gasping and unable to stand. The third and fourth Herrick attacked together, trying to use their size advantage to overwhelm him. Marcus rolled to the side, avoiding their charge, and picked up the neural disruptor from the ground. Instead of using it as a weapon, he crushed it in his hands, showing a grip strength that made several spectators step back in alarm. One of the remaining Herrick swung a massive fist at Marcus's head. The human bent backward, letting the punch pass inches from his face, then grabbed the extended arm and used the alien's own momentum to flip him over his shoulder. The Herrick landed hard on his back, and Marcus followed up with a stomp to the chest that ended the fight. The last Herrick hesitated, looking at his 4 unconscious companions scattered around the plaza. Marcus stood in the center of the circle, breathing heavily but still ready to fight. His uniform was torn and stained, but he showed no signs of serious injury. "You want to continue?" Marcus asked, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his system. The remaining Herrick looked at Marcus, then at his fallen brothers, then at the crowd of spectators who were staring in stunned silence. Without a word, he turned and ran toward the nearest exit, pushing through the crowd in his haste to escape. Marcus watched him go, then looked down at the 4 unconscious aliens on the ground. Keth was starting to wake up, moaning softly and trying to sit up. Marcus knelt beside him and spoke in a quiet voice that only the Herrick could hear. "If you or your friends ever threaten another crew member from the Wandering Star, I will find you," Marcus said calmly. "And next time, I will not be so gentle." Keth's eyes widened as he understood the threat. He nodded quickly, then struggled to his feet and helped his injured companion stand. The five Herrick limped away from the plaza, supporting each other and casting fearful glances back at Marcus. The crowd began to disperse, but Marcus could hear them talking in hushed voices. Word of what had happened would spread quickly through the station, and by tomorrow, everyone would know about the human who had single-handedly defeated a Herrick gang. Marcus straightened his uniform and tried to clean some of the stains from his shirt. His hands were shaking slightly as the adrenaline began to fade, and he realized what he had just done. In less than 2 minutes, he had seriously injured 4 aliens and humiliated one of the most feared gangs on Kepler Station. "Reed." The voice came from behind him, and Marcus turned to see Commander Thane approaching with several other crew members from the Wandering Star. The Korvac's expression was unreadable as he surveyed the scene. "Commander," Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady, "I can explain what happened." Commander Thane looked at the bloodstains on the plaza floor, then at Marcus's torn uniform, then at the crowd of aliens who were still staring from a safe distance. "Walk with me," he said quietly. Marcus followed. His superior officer away from the plaza, leaving behind the whispers and stares of the spectators. He had wanted to make a good impression on his first visit to an alien space station, but he had a feeling that his reputation would now precede him wherever he went. As they walked through the corridors of Kepler Station, Marcus noticed that other beings moved out of their way. Some watched him with curiosity, others with fear, and a few with what might have been respect. Word was already spreading through the station about the human security officer who had defeated the Herrick gang. Marcus had crossed a line that he could not uncross. The question now was whether he would face consequences for his actions, or if this was just the beginning of a reputation that would follow him across the galaxy. Commander Thane led Marcus to a quiet bar in the upper section of Kepler Station, far from the main plaza where the fight had occurred. The establishment catered to ship officers and senior crew members, with dim lighting and private booths that encouraged quiet conversation. Most of the patrons were absorbed in their own business and paid little attention to the 2 new arrivals. They sat in a corner booth, where they could speak without being overheard. Commander Thane ordered drinks for both of them, then leaned back in his seat and studied Marcus with his 4 eyes. The silence stretched between them for several minutes before the Korvac finally spoke. "Tell me what happened," he said simply. Marcus recounted the events in the plaza, starting with his study of the star map and ending with the defeat of the Herrick gang. He tried to remain objective and factual, but he could hear the tension in his own voice as he described the moment when he decided to fight back. "I tried to avoid violence," Marcus concluded. "But when Keth threatened me with the neural disruptor, I felt like I had no choice." Commander Thane nodded slowly. "The Herrick are known throughout this sector for their brutality. They have killed dozens of beings over the years, and station security has never been able to stop them. Most species avoid confrontation with them at all costs. I understand that I may have caused problems for the ship," Marcus said. "If you need to transfer me to another assignment, I will accept that decision." "Transfer you?" Commander Thane's expression was puzzled. "Reed, do you understand what you accomplished today? You single-handedly defeated 5 Herrick warriors. Most species would require an entire security team to achieve the same result." Marcus shook his head. "I just did what I was trained to do." Any graduate of the Colonial Defense Academy would have reacted the same way. "That is exactly what concerns me," Commander Thane said quietly, "and why I need to explain something about your species that most humans do not fully understand." The Korvac activated a privacy screen around their booth, ensuring that their conversation could not be overheard or recorded. He then pulled up a holographic display showing star charts and species classification data. "When your species made first contact with the galactic community 15 years ago, It caused quite a stir among the various governments and scientific organizations, Commander Thane began. Not because humans were particularly advanced technologically, but because of where you came from. The display showed Earth rotating slowly, with detailed information about its climate, geography, and evolutionary history. Marcus had seen similar presentations during his academy training, but Commander Thane was highlighting aspects he had never considered important. Most sapient species in the galaxy evolved on what we call garden worlds, Commander Thane explained. Planets with stable climates, abundant resources, and relatively few natural threats. Competition for survival was minimal, which allowed intelligence to develop without the need for enhanced physical capabilities. The display shifted to show several other worlds, each one appearing peaceful and hospitable. The dominant species from these planets were generally tall and thin, with delicate features and limited physical strength. They had developed advanced technology and complex societies, but they had never needed to become efficient killers. Earth is different, Commander Thane continued. Your planet has experienced multiple ice ages, massive climate changes, and constant natural disasters. The species that survived were those that could adapt quickly, fight effectively, and work together against common threats. The display now showed Earth's evolutionary timeline, with particular focus on the development of human ancestors. Marcus watched as the presentation detailed the rise of tool use, the development of hunting strategies, and the gradual increase in brain size that accompanied these survival skills. Your species did not just evolve intelligence, Commander Thane said. You evolved tactical intelligence. The ability to read body language, predict enemy movements, coordinate group attacks, and adapt to changing battlefield conditions. These skills were necessary for survival on your world. Marcus began to understand what his superior officer was trying to tell him. You are saying that humans are naturally better at combat than other species? I'm saying that humans are apex predators. Commander Thane replied. Your reflexes are faster, your spatial awareness is superior, and your ability to process multiple threats simultaneously is unmatched in the galaxy. What you did today was not the result of superior training. It was the result of millions of years of evolution. The privacy screen flickered as someone approached their booth. Marcus looked up to see Voss, the Rillan trader who had made mocking comments about humans during his first week aboard the Wandering Star. The alien's usual confident demeanor was gone, replaced by something that looked like nervous respect. Commander Thane, Voss said carefully. I hope I am not interrupting, but I wanted to speak with your security officer. Commander Thane gestured for Voss to sit down. What is on your mind? Voss looked at Marcus with new eyes, as if seeing him for the first time. I owe you an apology, he said to the human. I thought your species was weak and untested. I was wrong. You were not wrong about my experience, Marcus replied. I am still learning about life in space, but you were not wrong about being dangerous, Voss continued. The entire station is talking about what happened in the plaza. 5 Herrick warriors defeated by a single human. Some beings are calling it impossible. Commander Thane leaned forward. What are they saying about it? The reactions are mixed, Voss admitted. Some species are impressed and want to learn more about humans. Others are frightened and think that your people should be restricted or monitored. A few are angry and consider what happened today to be a challenge to their own warrior cultures. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. I did not mean to cause political problems. I was just defending myself. The problem is not what you did, Commander Thane said. The problem is what your actions revealed about human capabilities. For 15 years, most species have thought of humans as newcomers who were lucky to discover space travel. Today, you showed them that humans are potentially the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The holographic display shifted to show population statistics and military assessments. Earth's human population was relatively small compared to the major galactic powers, but the combat effectiveness ratings were off the charts. Your Colonial Defense Academy produces soldiers who are individually superior to the elite forces of most other species, Commander Thane explained. A single human squad can accomplish missions that would require entire battalions from other worlds. This is not because of better equipment or training. It is because humans are natural warriors, Voss nodded in agreement. My people have been traders for thousands of years. We know how to evaluate threats and opportunities. After today, every Rillan merchant in the galaxy will want human security officers protecting their ships. But they will also be afraid of us, Marcus said, understanding the implications. Fear and respect often go together, Commander Thane replied. The key is to use your abilities responsibly. What you did today was necessary and justified. The Herrick were planning to seriously injure or kill you. Your response was proportional to the threat. The privacy screen deactivated as other crew members from the Wandering Star entered the bar. Marcus could see them looking in his direction, and their expressions ranged from admiration to uncertainty. Word of the fight had reached the ship, and everyone wanted to see the human who had defeated the infamous Herrick gang. Your life is about to change, Commander Thane said quietly. Throughout the galaxy, there will be beings who want to test themselves against human capabilities. Others will seek to hire human protection. Some will consider your species to be a threat that needs to be eliminated. Marcus looked around the bar at the various alien species enjoying their drinks and conversations. A few hours ago, he had been just another crew member exploring a space station. Now he was a symbol of human potential, for better or worse. What should I do? He asked. Commander Thane's expression was serious but not unkind. You should be yourself. Be professional, be fair, and be ready to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Your species has a gift for warfare, but that gift comes with responsibility. As they prepared to leave the bar, Marcus realized that his simple shore leave had become something much more significant. He had not just won a fight against 5 alien criminals. He had revealed to the galaxy that humans were apex predators, and that revelation would change everything. 2 weeks after the incident on Kepler Station, Marcus noticed that life aboard the Wandering Star had changed in subtle but significant ways. Crew members who had previously ignored him now nodded respectfully when he passed in the corridors. Others who had been friendly before now seemed nervous around him, as if they were afraid of saying the wrong thing. The most noticeable change was in the security department. Commander Thane had assigned Marcus to more complex duties, including training other security officers in combat techniques and leading patrol teams through the ship's more dangerous areas. The Korvac had also begun consulting with Marcus on tactical matters. Treating him as a valuable advisor rather than just a junior officer, Marcus was reviewing duty rosters in the security office when the ship's alarm system activated. The red lights flashed and a recorded voice announced that all crew members should report to emergency stations. Commander Thane rushed into the office, his forearms moving quickly over the control panels. What is the situation? Marcus asked, checking his weapon and communication equipment. 3 ships have surrounded us, Commander Thane replied grimly. They are demanding that we prepare to be boarded. The sensor readings indicate they are pirates, probably the Black Star Consortium. Marcus had heard of the Black Star Consortium during his academy training. They were one of the most dangerous pirate organizations in the galaxy, known for their ruthless tactics and advanced ships. Unlike the Herrick gang on Kepler Station, these were professional criminals with military-grade equipment. How many boarding parties should we expect? Marcus asked. At least 30 pirates, possibly more, Commander Thane said. They will try to take control of the bridge and the main cargo holds. Our security team has 12 officers, but most of them have never been in actual combat. The ship shuddered as the pirate vessels attached docking clamps to the hull. Marcus could hear the sound of cutting torches beginning to work on the outer airlock doors. In a few minutes, armed pirates would be pouring into the Wandering Star. I need to coordinate the defense, Commander Thane said. Reed, I want you to take 4 officers and protect the main cargo hold. The pirates will try to steal the most valuable items first. Marcus nodded and selected 4 crew members from the security roster. 2 were young Alterans who had good reflexes but limited combat experience. The other two were Grundy, who were strong but slow-moving. It was not an ideal team for facing professional pirates, but it was what they had. "Listen carefully, Marcus," said to his team as they moved toward the cargo hold. "These pirates are dangerous and well-armed. Stay behind cover, follow my orders exactly, and do not take unnecessary risks. Our job is to protect the cargo and the crew, not to be heroes." The cargo hold was a vast space filled with containers and equipment. Marcus positioned his team behind various pieces of cover and checked their weapons. The ship's internal sensors showed that the pirates had breached the outer hull in 3 different locations and were moving through the corridors toward their objectives. "They are coming," one of the Alterans said, pointing to the main entrance. "I can hear them in the corridor." Marcus activated his communicator. "Commander Thane, we have contact at cargo hold 7. At least 8 pirates approaching our position." "Acknowledged," came the reply. "More teams are heading for the bridge and engineering. Hold your position as long as possible." The cargo hold doors exploded inward as the pirates used shaped charges to clear the entrance. Smoke and debris filled the air as armed figures poured through the opening. Marcus could see that they were a mixed group of species, all wearing black body armor and carrying military weapons. "Take cover," Marcus shouted to his team. "Wait for my signal." The pirates spread out through the cargo hold, moving with practiced efficiency. They seemed to know exactly where the most valuable containers were located, suggesting they had detailed information about the ship's cargo manifest. Marcus watched them work and realized that this was not a random attack. "Now," he said into his communicator, "the security team opened fire from their concealed positions." Several pirates went down in the first volley, but the others quickly took cover and began returning fire. The battle was intense but brief. With energy weapons lighting up the darkened cargo hold, Marcus moved through the maze of containers like a ghost, using his superior reflexes and tactical training to outmaneuver the pirates. He appeared behind one group and disabled 3 of them before they knew he was there. He flanked another position and forced 4 pirates to surrender rather than face him in close combat. The Alterans and Grundy on his team followed his example, moving with more confidence as they watched Marcus work. They began to understand that the human was not just another security officer. He was a natural warrior who could turn the tide of any battle. "Cargo hold 7 is secure," Marcus reported to Commander Thane. 8 pirates captured, 2 wounded, none killed. "Outstanding work," came the reply. "We have secured the bridge and engineering as well. The pirate ships are retreating." After the battle, Marcus and his team escorted the captured pirates to the ship's detention facility. The criminals were sullen and defeated, but Marcus noticed that they kept staring at him with a mixture of fear and respect. Word of his reputation had apparently spread even to the pirate community. Voss appeared in the corridor as they were securing the prisoners. The Rillan trader looked at Marcus with obvious admiration. "I heard about what happened in the cargo hold," he said. 8 pirates defeated by a security team of 5, with you leading the charge." "My team did excellent work," Marcus replied. "I could not have succeeded without them." "Perhaps," Voss said, "but everyone knows that you were the key to victory. The pirates are already talking about the human who fights like a demon but shows mercy to defeated enemies." Later that evening, Commander Thane called a meeting of the entire security department. The 12 officers gathered in the main briefing room, where the Korvax stood before a display showing the tactical analysis of the pirate attack. "Today's battle demonstrated the importance of proper training and leadership," Commander Thane began. "Officer Reed's performance was exemplary, and his team followed his example with courage and skill." The other security officers looked at Marcus with new respect. He had proven himself not just in a bar fight with criminals, but in actual combat against dangerous enemies. More importantly, he had led a team to victory while keeping everyone alive. "I am promoting Reed to Deputy Security Chief," Commander Thane announced. "He will be responsible for combat training and tactical planning for the entire security department." Marcus felt a surge of pride but also responsibility. He had found his place aboard the Wandering Star, not as an outsider trying to fit in, but as a natural leader whose abilities could benefit the entire crew. After the meeting, several crew members approached Marcus to congratulate him on his promotion. Even some of the aliens who had been suspicious of humans now seemed eager to work with him. The events of the past few weeks had shown them that humans were not a threat to be feared, but allies to be valued. Voss was among the last to approach. "I want to apologize again for my earlier comments about your species," the Rillan said. "I understand now that humans are not weak newcomers to the galaxy. You are guardians." "We are just people trying to do our jobs," Marcus replied. "But I appreciate your words." "No," Voss said firmly. "You are something special. Your species has the ability to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is a rare gift in the galaxy." As Marcus returned to his quarters that night, he reflected on the changes in his life since joining the Wandering Star. He had started as a rookie security officer trying to prove himself worthy of serving alongside alien crew members. Now he was a leader whose reputation extended far beyond the ship. He sat at his desk and composed a message to his family on Earth. "The work continues to be challenging," he wrote, "but I have found my place among the stars. Humans have something unique to offer the galactic community, and I am proud to be part of that contribution." Marcus looked out his window at the stars, streaming past as the Wandering Star continued its journey through space. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and new opportunities to prove that humans belonged among the civilized species of the galaxy. But tonight, he was content to know that he had earned the respect of his crew and the right to call himself a guardian of the stars. The apex predator had found his pack, and the galaxy was safer because of it.